Hey y'all, my name's Megan. I'm a homeschool mom of two, and welcome to my channel. It's still very cold and it's still very much winter here. So that's, if you're here for the life updates, there it is. Cold and winter. That's it. That's all there is. I do want to say, if you missed my last video where we made a big announcement about changing the name of this channel to Homeschool, well then welcome, and I hope that you guys are ready to kick it old school style. And don't forget to also check out my new website, which I have linked down below. In today's video, I am going to walk y'all through how we implement the DART program from Brave Writer in our homeschool. I'm going to give you my honest opinion of the language arts program and let you know if we plan on using it again next year. Let's start off with some basic information about Brave Writer and the DART program. So Brave Writer was created by Julie Bogart. Julie Bogart is an home educating veteran, mother, author, podcaster, overall inspiration to the home education community. Her book, Brave Learner, actually really helped me to develop a pragmatic and enchanting atmosphere for my kiddos to learn, it helped me create a vision for what I wanted our homeschool to look like. She also hosts a really amazing and just down to facts, useful podcast called Brave Writer with Julie Bogart. I highly recommend both, and they will be, of course, linked in the description down below. I think it's safe to say that reading, writing, home education are among Julie's passions, and she definitely brings her experience as a home educator and a mother into the structure and creation of the Brave Writer curriculum. It just feels like it was designed by someone who understands the home educator's experience. Brave Writer offers many language arts programs and even online classes. This year, my daughter is 7, so we are working our way through the DART program, which is suggested for ages 8 to 10. If we continue using Brave Writer, we will actually be using the DART program again next year with the updated book list for school year 2022-2023. Can you believe that that's where we are in time right now? 2022, 2023, I'm getting old and kind of loving it, just saying. There are no workbooks or worksheets with the Brave Writer program. All of the elements of language arts are presented in a discussion style, and it does include extension activity ideas and writing prompts. And the whole thing uses a spiralized curriculum style. And spiralized curriculum really just means that the curriculum is designed to revisit different topics of grammar or language arts over and over and over again. And I absolutely love using spiralized curriculum styles because it takes the pressure off of me as the home educator. I know that we do not have to just master every single element of our reading guides each month because we will be revisiting those topics and we will be given opportunities to really make our, to depthen, that's the word I want to use, even though I know that that's not a word, to deepen our understanding of each of those elements of language arts or grammar that are discussed in the DART guides. When you purchase the DART curriculum, you're going to get the DART guidelines, which is an overall how to use this program. And then you will also get 10 DART guides or issues that circle around a pre-selected novel for each month. So let's get into the specifics of what is included in each DART novel guide or issue. And each one that you receive every month is designed in the same way and follows the same pattern, which really makes it very easy to navigate and also dramatically reduces planning time on the part of the home educator, which in this case is me. The guide or issue starts by giving you a little breakdown of the different elements of writing or grammar that are going to be covered with that novel. I love this because it really gives you the opportunity to look at the things that you and your student may need to spend a little extra time on, or really decide, hey, you know what, my kid understands homophones, so I'm really not going to repeat or focus on this particular element in language arts. It also includes a cultural context page, which I really appreciate. This is part of the guide that is just going to break down important contextual elements of each story and to make sure that your kiddo is fully prepared to understand the narrative. So for example, if we are looking at the cultural context piece of the What About Bob Dart guide, it's going to start off by giving us some information about what a hurricane is. Because if your kiddo really doesn't understand that a hurricane is a big, powerful storm with high winds and lots of rain, then they may be confused as to what is happening in the story. I also like to use this part of the Dart guide as sort of a cheat sheet for myself because I do not pre-read these novels. It's just a way for me to feel a little bit more informed and more confident in being the guide in our unit studies of a particular novel. From there, the guides are organized by week. Each section is going to include the passage that you'll be using for discussion as well as dictation and activities. I would say this is really the meat of the program, or at least for me, it's what I am more than willing to pay for. In theory, I could dig through any novel and find relevant passages to teach my kiddos elements of language arts and writing and grammar. But you know what? Well, I just don't want to, and I don't have the time. Do I love reading books with my kids? Absolutely. But do I want to sit around and design an English curriculum or program for language arts? The answer is no. Dictations are presented in a variety of styles, including French style dictation, and each week asks your child to use a little bit more independence in that dictation practice. Now, you are absolutely encouraged to modify these dictations to match your child's needs or where your kiddo is, and I really, really appreciate that encouragement right there in the curriculum, because sometimes I think we get stuck in, oh, well, the curriculum says this is how I need to do it, so this is how we're going to do it. And Brave Writer says, listen, guys, this is a suggested format, but you're the expert on your kiddo, and here's some ways that you could modify it. It also includes a list of additional activities and exercises that you can use to reinforce grammar or language arts elements discussed that particular week. So for example, in our upcoming Dart guide, we're going to be talking about the concept of personification. And the activity that is suggested is that we get toys such as trucks and trains, and we find a way to personify them. So that's the type of additional activity that you could expect to find in these guides. And you could use like pencil to paper to complete this activity, but you could also just do it as an informal playtime or discussion. And I really, again, appreciate the ability to personalize that experience, but to also get creative with it. Each guide also includes a list of big, juicy questions that follow along with the narrative of each novel. I'm really excited to show you guys how I implement the big, juicy questions in the next section of this video. Each guide also includes some suggestions for how you could throw a book party for each of the novels. And to be perfectly honest, we have never used this section of the guides. I'm not opposed to it, and they have really great ideas like games, snacks, things like that. It has just never organically happened in our homeschool. You'll also receive blank printable dictation pages, as well as like dictation posters that you could give your kiddo that presents each dictation in a large print for copy work. Again, we've just never used that part of the guides. Glad it's there. Not for us. I really want to emphasize that one of the things I truly appreciate about the Brave Writer program is it encourages that self-pacing, right? There is no rush. What do you need to do? What pace do you need to take to move your child successfully through each DART issue and the novels themselves? Although I would say that that is one of the biggest strengths of the DART Brave Writer program, it does make it a little bit difficult for prospective buyers to envision how they may use this program in their homeschool. Because of that, I want to shed some light on how this totally pragmatic homeschool parent uses the DART Brave Writer program in my home. Yeah, I'm going to walk you through how we implement the DART program every month. At the beginning of each month, a new DART guide becomes available off of the website. So I like to print mine, but if you're more tech savvy, you absolutely don't have to. I also print my guides 2 pages to a sheet, and if my printer could handle it, I'd also print on front and back. Not only does this save you a ton of printer paper, but it also allows me to print my big juicy questions in a format and size that I can cut them out and glue them into the front of each month's novel. I love doing this because it keeps me on track with my questions, and it also allows me to sneak in a little bit of schooling. The kiddos just don't pick up on the transition from reading for pleasure to reading for learning. It's right there. It feels organic and natural. Way less resistance. Then I like to go through and highlight each week's discussion and dictation passage in the novels themselves. The Brave Writer DART issues make this really easy because they include the page number and chapter location of each passage. This just helps me keep our reading aligned with where we are in each DART issue. After that, I go back through and look at what concepts we're really going to focus on each week. I then prep our dictation journal. I just use a really simple, large print composition notebook that has a section for her to illustrate each dictation. Now, Winnie is on the younger end of those suggested to use the DART program, so generally, I just write her dictation passages in pencil and she traces over them and then includes an illustration. We also like to do some handwriting practice in our Schoolnest spelling notebook. We love Megan at Schoolnest, and I have linked that notebook down below. And in terms of prepping and planning, that's it for the entire month. I might go back at the beginning of each week and kind of brush up on some things, but other than that, if I really am diligent and do my planning like I usually do, because DART just makes it that easy, then I'm done. So what does this actually end up looking like for my kiddos? Well, the novel selections are always just top notch. So the first thing that we do is just read, read, read. And this isn't always in a formal setting. Sometimes it's at night with tuck-ins or just cuddles on the couch or over breakfast, and having those big juicy questions glued right in front of the novel allows me to keep up with our DART issue while we're just reading. We're on a block schedule, so we typically do things like language arts, and by that I mean our formalized dictations every other day. So we'll sit at the table, light a candle, get cozy, and start to do our handwriting and tracing. While Winnie is doing that, I'll usually discuss the grammar or language arts elements going on within the passage. After that, we will usually complete an additional exercise that's listed in the guides. And whether that's things like adding adverbs to action words, or like I had given an example before, doing something like personification to toys, it's usually very casual, and I really appreciate that, especially because my daughter is on the younger side of what is suggested for this program. And guys, that's it. We just enjoy the books, read, 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 do some dictations, conversation, and maybe an additional exercise. And I have seen this be effective for my child. She is very familiar with grammar concepts, punctuations, onomatopoeias, and all of that has come from simply enjoying reading together and having those really awesome conversations. All right, guys, so as we start to wrap up this review, I'm going to give you what I think are my pros and cons of the Brave Writer DART program and let you know if we're going to use it again next year. So let's start with the pros. I would say that the first pro I want to list for this program is just the quality of the novel suggestions. We have absolutely loved every book that we have done through DART. And I have to say, these are books that we would normally have not selected or even heard about. And last spring, Julie hosted a book rally that we participated in online, where she introduced and talked about the books, and it really got Winnie excited for starting the DART program in the fall. So I would also say that a pro is really the community and feeling of enthusiasm that Julie has created with the Brave Writer program. I'm also going to say that another pro is the way that the program really encourages you to personalize the pacing and activities for your students. I love that. I don't feel pressured to complete things in any specific pace or order, and it makes me feel like I am seeing and highlighting the strengths of my child. And really, I could go on forever about the pros of this program, but the last thing I'm going to mention is the fact that a lot of the discussion points are scripted in the DART program. And they are scripted in a way that I can turn into my own and make it feel natural to a conversation with my kiddo. So if you're feeling a little intimidated by the idea that so much of this is delivered in a discussion style, don't be. DART's got you, right? And like I said, the delivery is just so natural. Y'all, I used to be a public school teacher and I did scripting for standardized tests, and that always sounded like a weird robot. But this, again, it just feels familiar and it feels gentle, and I love the scripting that is presented in the DART guides. All right, let's get into the cons. And in terms of cons for this program, I do have two kind of criticisms that I want to discuss. Number one is that actually when we first purchased this curriculum, it was a big investment because we also purchased the Jot It Down program, and that was suggested through the website. And so this is the Jot It Down program here. I had it printed and binded. And I would really say that I just don't feel like we were ready for it, or that it was as necessary to successfully implementing DART as it was presented on the website. If you are familiar with Julie Bogart, her work, or you've read Brave Learner, then I think you really know a lot of the projects or concepts that are going to be presented to you in, let's say, the Writer's Jungle. Now, as we progress through the program, I will be purchasing those upper levels of, if we continue, I will be purchasing the upper levels of how to implement the programs because I'm just not as familiar as how this might be implemented for middle schoolers or high schoolers. But like I said, if you have been in the world of Julie Bogart, then you understand things like poetry tea time or making dictation fun, right? You may not need to purchase that element to understand how to implement this program successfully. My second con that I have for the program is that it was really intimidating and difficult to navigate the website and decide what was best for our homeschool. And as a matter of fact, that sort of hesitation actually kept me from investing in the program sooner. So I will say, take your time through the website. I think she has a quiz on there that really helps you to decide where your kiddo needs to be. And if you're really unsure, then you can also purchase the DART guides a la carte or individually, and that may give you a better idea if this is something that is going to work for your homeschool. I'd even make the suggestion that you do purchase just one, maybe give it a little test run over spring break or over summer and see how it fits for your family. In answering the question as to whether or not we will continue with the DART program next year, that is a 100% resounding
yes, Queen.
Yes, Queen. Okay, we will be using, I'm sorry, I have just wanted to say for the longest time that I RSVP'd Yes, Queen for quite a while now. Yes, we will be using the program again. Gosh, you guys. We will be using the program again. And if you make the decision to move forward with the DART program next year, I also really suggest registering for or jumping on the Brave Writer book. What did I call it earlier? The Brave Writer book. Oh shoot. I remember now. This is the second video where I have just forgotten something. The Brave Writer book pep rally, which if it follows the same schedule as last year, will be held in May. It was just really fun. It helped Winnie to get really excited about the book selection. And so if you're really wanting to even look at what the books will be before you purchase, definitely check that out. And guys, don't forget to check out boldschool.net. I will be posting a blog style of this video so that you can always go back and look at those resources without having to watch this video in its entirety all over again. All right, you guys, you know what I'm gonna say. Is it perfect? No, baby, and it was never gonna be. Is it done? Yeah, for now it is. So until next time, bye!